Yeah, here's another example of Hollywood Israelites. This video was put up on the channel Hassan Daniels. Now, this is a scene from the movie Barry, as in Barry Soetoro, which is supposed to be the real name of Barack Obama. Like it says here, Hebrew Israelite scene in Barry movie. Now, this is a movie you can get on YouTube. The movie Barry. You should be able to get it on Amazon or Prime, or on Netflix. So without further ado, let's play the scene. Once again, it proves that you're going to have your Hollywood Israelites. And I'm thinking of a lot of Israelites right now who claim to be in the faith. They'd be perfect for Hollywood. We used to say that years ago, before any of this, beginning of Elder Apostle on down, we used to say certain guys back then, they wasted their talent claiming they were in the faith. They could have went to Hollywood and become a Hollywood celebrity. Like, we used to say that about so-called High Priest Lahab, We used to say you should have went to Hollywood. You're Hollywood Israelites. Anyway, let's check it out.
All right, Shalom. I was just watching this Barack Obama movie called Barry, and hey, check this out.
Be taken from the land, or the captives of the tyrant rescued. Now, what that means is, can we, the lost tribe of Israel?
So the guy walking here is supposed to be Barack Obama, aka Barry Soetoro, before he became president. This is long before he became president. This is supposed to be a documentation of his life, so to speak.
Reclaim what is rightfully ours from the cave-dwelling white devils that raped our ancestors, stole our land, and dispersed the true children.
Hey, wait a minute. They look like these Hollywood Israelites here. They look like members of the ISUPK, don't they? They look like members of the ISUPK. Hollywood Israelites.
God across the globe.
Hey, I ain't no devil. This is not the.
That's another thing they like. They like when we say read. They make fun of that, That's like a high point of amusement to them, when we say read. Let me bring back the scene.
Hey, I ain't no devil. This is not the words of Jesus Christ.
Shut your mouth, cave bitch. Yes, you are a cave bitch. Do you know what Jesus Christ called the white woman in the Bible? The female dog.
Shut your mouth, cave bitch. Yes, she's a cave bitch. Now, here's the thing. You're going to have Israelites that look like that cave bitch. And that's the real truth. That's why we say here at Great Millstone, we got 100% truth. Furthermore, he's quoting, what is that? Mark, the 7th. Mark, the 7th chapter. Hollywood Israelites, boy. Hey, Deacon Akar, man, you should get up in there, man. Deacon Akar, you should go to Hollywood. You'd fit right in, man. I'm telling you, hey, Deacon, on the real, Deacon Akar, you should go to Hollywood. You would fit right in, man. You're tailor-made for Hollywood. You and that sidekick of yours, Al-Azhar. You both of you cats should go to Hollywood. Hollywood swinging. Hollywood swinging. Cool in the Gang. I remember not too long ago, I went to the city and I saw the Cool in the Gang show. I always wanted to get into a band to sing my songs and become a bad piano playing man. So here I am, Hollywood Israelites. So like it, brothers. I gotta have fun with this. All right, let's get serious here. Mark 7. Because what he just said there is incorrect. Now, we used to break it down that way. That's before we got the revelation that you're going to have Israelites scattered among all nations. Okay? So, this is the book of Mark 7 and 24. It says, "And from thence he arose and went into the borders of Tyre and Zidon." This is Yahushua, right? "And entered into an house, and would have no man know it, but he could not be hid. For a certain woman, whose young daughter had an unclean spirit, heard of him, and came and fell at his feet. The woman was a Greek." So right there, you see the word Greek. And immediately, if you're unlearned, you're thinking that's an Edomite. As in what you heard the guy say, "the cave, bitch." But that's not the truth. When we go into the Greek word for Greek, the woman was a Greek. This is where you got to apply the original tongue, which the New Testament was originally written in Hebrew and then Greek. Now, in the Greek, the word there is Hellenes. So if you know the history, right, you would know that Israelites became Hellenes. Okay? Israelites became Hellenized. Okay? First under Alexander the Greek, and then later under Antiochus Epiphanes. All right? Let's go to let's give you an example of the beginning. For those of you that are new, there's something called Hellenization. What is Hellenization? This is where our people, Israelites, became like the Greeks, started worshiping the custom of the Greeks, started speaking Greek. That's what that woman was. She was an Israelite that spoke Greek. That's why the scriptures record her as the woman was a Greek. Okay? Let's get an example of that. We go to the book of First Maccabees. First Maccabees, the first chapter. And we're going to start around the 10th verse. Now, this is the beginning. Actually, Hellenization starts with Alexander the Greek, right? Who came on the scene about 333 BC. Then around 161 BC, somewhere around there, circa, which the word circa in the Latin/Italian is circa, which means around. Like that's where you get the word circumnavigate, right? Circumnavigate means to go around the world, circumnavigate, right? So the word circa or chirca means around. So around 160 BC, somewhere around there, Antiochus Epiphanes comes on the scene, right? And he was solely responsible for corrupting a lot of Israelites into the Greek fashion of things, the Greek way of things. Thus, the Israelites became Hellenized. That's why you see the word Hellenes for the Greek word there in Mark 7 and 24. For the Greek word there, you see Hellenes, which is what? An Israelite following the customs of the Greeks. Now let's read it. First Maccabees 1 and 10. "And there came out of them a wicked root, out of the Greeks, Antiochus, some say Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days went there out of Israel, Israelites, wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen." Yeah, what heathen at that time? Greeks, the Greeks, which were really Edomites. There were Edomites calling themselves Greeks, okay? And I could go into the backstory of the term Greek, which really goes back to Yawan, go into all that history, which goes back to Japheth, but I don't want to make this video too long. I just want to stay to the point, right? So what is the point? The point is that I'm showing you the origin of when Israelites became Hellenized, Hellenes, like we just saw the Greek word there for Matthew 7 and 24. I'm giving you an example in history. Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, Antiochus, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, called a gymnasium. The word gym goes back to the Greek word gymnos, which means naked. Okay, because back then they were actually naked when they exercised. All right. Today now they wear the leotards and the very tight-fitting clothing, right? But back then they were actually naked, because that's what the word means. Gym means naked. Gymnos, right? Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant. This is where Israelites started becoming Hellenized. Okay? And joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. Okay? So I just gave you an example of when Israelites started becoming Hellenized. Thus the term we see here for Mark 7 and 24. So no, this woman was not an Edomite woman. She was not a cave beast, like the Hollywood Israelites said. Shut up, cave beast. Yes, this is a cave beast. Nah, this woman was an Israelite that was a victim of Hellenization, of the predecessors before her. All right? Her forefathers before her. They were victims of Hellenization, and that's what this woman was. She was an Israelite that spoke Greek. Okay? So no, she wasn't a cave beast. All right, let's read it again. The woman was a Greek, an Israelite foreigner, if you will, that spoke Greek. As a matter of fact, the Apostle Paul spoke Greek. You can read about that. You can read about that in Acts the 20. What is it? The 21st chapter. The Apostle Paul spoke Greek. You know, Timothy spoke Greek. You had a lot of men that became converts back to their language and their customs as being Hebrew Israelites that spoke Greek. They had Greek names. Okay, Epaphroditus, that was a Greek name. Like I said, Timothy, that's a Greek name. Timothy's father was called a Greek. Was he a cave beast? According to the Hollywood Israelites, was he a cave beast? No, he was an Israelite that spoke Greek and followed the customs of the Greeks. He was a victim of Hellenization. See, and that back then, especially back then, I'm not sure exactly what year that scene is supposed to represent, but if it's the early 90s, late 80s, that really wasn't taught back then. How our people were Hellenized. Okay, it wasn't taught on the scale as it is taught now through Great Millstone, beginning of Elder Apostle on down. Now we got the understanding of that. All right, so you're not going to hear us pull out Mark 7:24 to prove that Yahushua call a white woman a dog, because number one, it wasn't a so-called white woman. All right, it was an Israelite following the custom of the Greeks, speaking Greek. Okay, and she had a lot of faith, which is a characteristic of what? An Israelite. Esau don't have no faith. What proves she had a lot of faith is listen to her reply after Yahushua basically told her, "Look, you're outside of this thing of ours. You're outside of you're outside of being a Hebrew Israelite. You're following the ways of the Greeks." But she had faith, right? Because listen to her reply. But Yahushua said unto her, "Let the children first be filled." Who's the children? The Israelites. "For it is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it unto the dogs." So the Israelites that were acting like heathens, they were considered to be what? Dogs. There's a scripture where it says, if a man will not listen to admonition or warning after the first and second warning, let him be as what? A heathen. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that. Matter of fact, let him be and what does the word heathen mean? Literally means country dweller. Right? Here it is right here. Barakatai, how about Shemiah Shai found the scripture. Matthew 18 and let's start at 16. "But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established." And that goes back to our law. The law that was given to us Israelites. "And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it to the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican." There you go. The main point, a heathen man, which the word heathen means country dweller. Now the heathens, they were outside of this thing of ours. Even though they were Israelites, they were outside of this thing of ours. This is where knowing the history comes in. Okay? So this is why Yahushua said, "Let the children first be filled. For it is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to the dogs." What is the children's bread? This knowledge, this truth. "And to cast it unto the dogs. And she answered and said unto him, Yes, Lord, yet the dogs under the table eat of the children's crumbs." There you go. So for her to say that she had great faith. Okay? And that was a great reply that she gave Yahushua, because of that, Yahushua said, this is the 29th verse, "And he said unto her, For this saying, because you prove your faith," which only Israelites can have faith, "for this saying, go thy way, the devil is gone out of thy daughter." Now, here's another scripture with more proof. What does this mean here? "For I have not found," and hopefully I could find it. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this. Okay, this must be it. Let's go to Matthew 8 and 10. Matthew 8 and 10. Matthew 8 and 10. Now this individual here, he was a centurion. Now, did the Romans hire Israelites as centurions? The answer is yes. Okay? So this centurion, obviously, he didn't keep the laws, statutes, and commandments as a Hebrew Israelite. He was more concerned with the people that he served, which would happen to be what? The Romans. Right? Matthew 8 and 8. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof. So he had respect to Yahushua and the doctrine that Yahushua held. Right? Now that right there is a clue that of what nationality that centurion had to have been. He had to have been an Israelite. That's why he had respect unto Yahushua and the doctrine that Yahushua held. And he believed in Yahushua because he wanted Yahushua to heal his servant. So that took great faith for him to believe in Yahushua, so much so that he said within his mind that this man can heal my servant. I believe in this man. I have faith in this man. I believe in him and his doctrine. He had to have heard Yahushua's doctrine to have faith in him. Faith to the point where he said, this man here can heal my servant. And that shows he had great love for his servant. So let's read on. It says, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. That took great faith. Faith that the Jews, a lot of the Jews didn't have. Huh? Just like that woman, that Israelite woman that spoke Greek. She had great faith. She had great faith. How do we know this? Based upon her reply to Yahushua. Okay, and Yahushua blessed her with what she wanted. What did the Apostle Paul say? He said in Romans 10 and 10, let's go to that. Let's go to Romans 10 and 10. All right, Romans 10 and let's start at 9. Well, let's start at 8 to get the whole idea. Romans 10 and 8. But what saith it? The word is nigh thee, even in thy mouth and in thy heart. That is the word of faith. See, it's all about that faith. Both examples demonstrated faith. The woman in the book of Mark 7 and 24, that was an Israelite woman that spoke Greek, and this Roman centurion, which we're going to go back to in Matthew the 8th chapter. They both had a high degree of faith. Okay? And why did they have faith? Because that's a gift. Is it not written? Faith is a gift. Ephesians 2 and 8. And Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushua is only going to give that gift to Israelites, the gift of faith. He didn't give the gift of faith to the other nations, especially Esau, Edom. Come on, man. Let's read it again. Romans 10 and 8. But what saith it? The word is nigh thee, even in thy mouth and in thy heart. That is the word of faith, which we preach. We came into this knowledge by what, brothers? By faith. We first heard the word, the teaching of the word, and we got the gift of faith, and we started to believe. That's Hebrews 4 and 2. Hearing the word mixed with faith. Like King David said, I believe, therefore I have spoken. Okay? And we believe so much to the point now that we speak the word. We teach the word. That's evidence of our belief. So again, let's keep reading. Let's read 8 again. But what saith it? The word is nigh thee, even in thy mouth and in thy heart, meaning in our minds, right? That is the word of faith which we preach, that if thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Lord Yahushua, and shall believe in thine heart that Yahweh have raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. In other words, believe in Yahushua, which those two individuals, the two examples, the woman and that centurion, in a way, they believed in Yahushua. They believed in what he was saying. They believed in his words, even though they were following the customs of another nation, such as the Romans, which before that the Romans were Greeks, which before that they were what? They were Edomites. Okay? Now here's the point. For with the heart, the mind, man believeth unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. That's the point. So this man confessed, this centurion here, he confessed because he made a statement. He said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest, first of all, he called him Lord, that thou shouldest come under my roof. That's the great respect he had for that man, Yahushua. But speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. That took great faith, man. That man, that centurion was a Hebrew Israelite that believed in Yahushua. So much to the point that he believed that Yahushua could heal his servant with just saying the word. Come on, man. That's the kind of faith we're supposed to have. That's supposed to be an example to us of faith. Huh? That's supposed to be an example of faith to us. Let's keep reading. For I am a man under great authority. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. Yeah, he was a centurion. Centurion means 100. So he was an official over 100 men, a centurion, right? Having soldiers under me. And I say to this man, go, and he goeth. And to another, come, and he cometh. And to my servant, do this, and he doeth it. And he had to have loved the servant greatly. He was whoever that person was, he was a very good servant. When Yahushua heard it, he marveled and said to them that followed, and the ones that followed were what? They were Jews. All right. Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. Because you had your straight up Israelites, your Jews, and you had your Israelite foreigners. Yeah, they were Israelites, but they were following the customs of another nation. And I took you back to First Maccabees to show you the origin of that. Wicked men of Israel that went and said, let us follow the customs of the heathen so we can get a better life. You have to know the history, okay? So this is why Yahushua said, I have not found so great a faith, no, not in Israel. What does that mean? Does that mean that centurion was of another nation? In this case, an Edomite? No. He was an Israelite that followed the customs of the Edomites. In this case, the Romans. He was a centurion. But he had faith. And because of his faith, his servant was healed. His servant, he received the request that he wanted from Yahushua. That being his servant to be healed. So that was another example I gave you to back up Matthew 7 and 24. Okay? Let's go back to it. I'm sorry, not Matthew 7, 24. Actually, Mark 7 and 24. Mark 7 and 24 speaks about what? This woman that was a Greek, the Syrophoenician by nation. But she was an Israelite that spoke Greek. We went into the Greek word Hellenes. We went into the history of the Hellenized peoples, who they were. They were Israelites that were Hellenized, conquered, if you will, colonized by the Greeks, which were Edomites. Okay? There you go. Now we kind of strayed away from this video here, but again, it goes back to your Hollywood Israelites. I had to explain that because at one time, yes, that was taught. We used to use that scripture to prove that the one they called Jesus, which his name is Yahushua, cursed out a so-called white woman, called her a dog. But now we have the proper understanding of that. And you still got Israelites teaching that crap. Your Hollywood Israelites. Let's move on.
And what is a female dog? Don't be afraid to say it, bro. That's right. A bitch. That's what Jesus Christ called you in the Bible.
How come you're using the King James Bible?
What?
Well, why that edition? I thought King James was a white devil.
This is King James right here. Take a good look. He looks like Billy D. Williams, if you ask me.
If you say so, brother.
And King James was a so-called black man. King James was a so-called black man who came out of Scotland. As a matter of fact, the word Scotland, Scot means black land. But we're not black, we're different shades of brown. But that is true. King James was a so-called black man. You know, you have something called Renaissance art. That's where Esau took down all the dark images and put up his likeness, his face as the image. That's the book of Job 9:24, where it says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. That's what Esau did in something called iconoclasm. So all the great men of the dark ages now according to Esau, the father of lies, now they look like so-called white people. King James being no exception. All right. But there you have it, man. Your Hollywood Israelites. And these cats, they would fit right in with ISUPK. And not just ISUPK, GOCC, all them other Israelite groups. So if you think that Esau can't take an average so-called Negro and make him look like an Israelite, you better think again. Here's another example. All right, so at that point, I'll leave it there. Hopefully you're edified. Next video.